Hello and Happy New Year, everyone. This is NWS Columbia meteorologist Steve LaVoie bringing you a recap of some of the most significant weather events that occurred in our forecast area in the year 2024. Unfortunately, this will be a year that many will never forget due to the impacts from Hurricane Helene, which devastated western portions of our forecast area. We will talk more about the impacts from Helene in a bit. For the second January in a row, our forecast area had to deal with several rounds of severe weather instead of winter weather. The first storm brought severe weather to our area on the 9th of January. The system was forecast well in advance and was expected to bring a variety of weather conditions to our region, including strong winds and heavy rainfall. A tornado watch was issued for the entire forecast area the morning of the 9th, and 2 tornadoes were confirmed in the Midlands that day. The first tornado developed over Shull Island in Lake Murray, causing minor damage before traveling over a portion of the lake and moving on to the north side where it produced EF1 damage and had estimated winds of 90 miles per hour. The second tornado ended up being the strongest of the year in our county warning area. I am of course talking about the EF2 Bamberg tornado, which touched down a couple miles south of the city center and caused significant damage to portions of the downtown area with estimated winds of 125 miles per hour. This weather system also produced one of the greatest 24-hour pressure drops here at the Columbia Metropolitan Airport, only eclipsed by Hurricane Hugo in 1989 and the superstorm of March 1993. This system produced several strong thunderstorms, including the one shown here near the Columbia Metropolitan Airport. 3 tornadoes were surveyed from this event, bringing the monthly total up to 5. These tornadoes were an EF1 in Richland County near Pontiac, an EF1 in Saluda County, which produced 2 areas of extensive tree damage in addition to minor home damage, and a short-lived EF0 near the Newberry County line. Another thing 2024 had in common with the previous year was the relatively quiet spring, which is climatologically our most active for severe weather. This changed on the morning of May 9th when a strong squall line roared through parts of the Midlands during the pre-dawn hours. 3 tornadoes also occurred with this event, bringing the yearly total up to 8. These were an EF0 in Newberry County south of the town of Whitmire, a short-lived EF0 in Fairfield County, and another more powerful tornado in Fairfield County near I-77, rated EF1. As spring turned into summer, our forecast area entered an extended period of hot and dry weather. While our region is known for having months of heat and humidity, the hot and dry weather we observed this summer was so long that a flash drought developed. As you can see from the graphic on the right, much of the Midlands saw drought conditions by mid-July, including extreme drought conditions in portions of Clarendon, Lee, and Sumter counties. It would take a tropical cyclone to break a drought of this magnitude, and one would arrive in early August. Forming near Cuba, Debby was the 4th named storm and 2nd hurricane of the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season. After making landfall in the Big Bend region of Florida as a Category 1 hurricane, Debby moved slowly across Georgia and off the South Carolina coast, before eventually making a second landfall in South Carolina as a tropical storm. Debby produced heavy rainfall across much of South Carolina, especially near the coast. In our forecast area, rainfall amounts range from 2 to 4 inches in the northwest to nearly 10 inches across portions of Bamberg, Barnwell, Clarendon, and Orangeburg counties. As you might expect, this heavy rainfall produced areas of localized flooding, and eventually some river flooding as well. Following Debby, we resumed our stretch of dry weather until the next tropical cyclone moved through. Unfortunately, this one would bring devastating impacts to portions of our area. Forming in the western Caribbean Sea, Helene was the 8th named storm, 5th hurricane, and 2nd major hurricane of the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season. While some impacts from Helene were anticipated in advance, it was not until the day the hurricane approached that the severity of these impacts became clearer. A tropical storm warning was in effect for our entire forecast area during Helene. Unfortunately, several factors came together to produce devastating hurricane-force wind gusts across much of the western Midlands and CSRA. In the days following Helene, extensive damage surveys were done by our staff across the hardest-hit areas, with much of the CSRA seeing a swath of estimated wind gusts in excess of 90 miles per hour as the collapsing core of Helene rushed through the region during the middle of the night. Helene also produced historic flooding on area rivers from a combination of local rainfall and the water coming from upstream. The hurricane also produced 11 confirmed tornadoes, bringing our yearly total up to 19. 4 of these tornadoes were rated EF1 on the enhanced Fujita scale, with the remaining 7 given the EF0 rating. Considering the wide variety of impacts to the forecast area, it goes without saying that Helene will be remembered as the most significant hurricane to strike inland South Carolina since Hugo 35 years earlier. After Helene, drought conditions redeveloped across parts of our forecast area. October 2024 was among the driest months on record, tied with 1963 and 2000 at the Columbia Metropolitan Airport, with records going back to 1887. Meanwhile, Augusta Bush Field was tied with 1953 as the driest October on record, going back to 1874. It would take moisture from a third tropical cyclone to end the drought this time. In this case, it was Hurricane Raphael, a Category 3 hurricane that passed well to our south. An approaching trough was able to transport moisture from Raphael into the region, resulting in a large swath of 6 to 12 inch rain totals over just a few hours, resulting in flash flooding, especially over portions of Aiken, Bamberg, Barnwell, Calhoun, and western Orangeburg counties. Unable to contain this amount of water, another historic river flood occurred, this time causing flooding in the city of Orangeburg, where a record crest was observed along the North Fork of the Edisto River. As the year drew to a close, there was one more significant event for our forecast area, as a potent line of strong to severe thunderstorms swept through during the morning hours of December 29th. In addition to areas of wind damage and power outages, 3 tornadoes were surveyed north and west of Columbia. The 3 tornadoes were an EF0 near Spring Hill in Richland County, an EF0 in Fairfield County south of Rion, and an EF1 that passed south of Winnsboro in Fairfield County. This brings our final total for the year up to 22 tornadoes. By comparison, in 2023, we saw 7 tornadoes, 6 of which occurred in the month of January, and 2022 and 2021 each produced 8 tornadoes. And that will conclude our overview of the significant events across the Midlands of South Carolina and the CSRA in the year 2024. I'm NWS Columbia meteorologist Steve LaVoie, signing off until next time.